what up YouTube? It's your boy Rizil back on the channel with another one, and today we're gonna have another annual Steve Wilkos. I'm looking for ideas. I'm checking your subscriber suggestions, so please keep sending them in. This is just one as a filler, because I feel like my Steve Wilkos videos do very well due to how interesting the stories are. But we're just gonna get to it. This one is titled "Baby Murdered by Own Mother." I don't need to do an intro or say less. I'll say any more. Just need to say less, and let's just get to it.
Early this year in January, my niece called me and said the baby wasn't breathing. So I'm at the mall, which is about 15 minutes from her house. By the time I get to her house, the baby is still there. There's no way I beat the cops and ambulance to the house if the baby is not breathing. They should have took the baby to the hospital immediately. I wouldn't call my family first if I knew my baby wasn't breathing. I would call the ambulance or the hospital, because at the end of the day, your family can't bring the baby back. When I got to the house, me personally, if they taking pictures, it's a crime scene. From the look of it, you are guilty because you didn't do what you were supposed to as a mother. Keisha's ex-boyfriend was supposed to be at the house, but at the end of the day, even if he was at the house, I still wouldn't want nobody like that around me if I don't know you. She was only with him for a month, so you don't know him. So when the cops basically called her to the detective office to question her and ask her, what happened or whatever, and tell her, what the baby suffered from and all that, I don't think you should have called him to give him notification what they told you. You should have let them went and got him, but you gave him clarification to up and leave, so he up and left and been on the run ever since. They said the baby suffered from broken ribs, she was suffocated, and internal bleeding. The baby was only 13 months. A 13-month-old having broken ribs, being smothered, and, basically being tortured. No child deserved that. And I think deep down inside, you should have been careful about who you have around your kids, period. Not just did her baby die, but she got her other child taken away because the baby died in her care. But then when the baby actually got to the hospital and they interviewed both of the kids, the other child had handprint marks around her mouth as if you were shutting her up. So they felt like the other child was being abused as well. So they took the other child and put it in foster care until the investigation is done. To me, she seemed stressed, but it don't seem like you're really worried. I feel like she hiding. Either hiding what happened or you trying to cover up for him. Either or. I hope the lie detector proved that she's telling the truth, because if not, then I can't even trust you. And then as you being my niece, that's going to let me know what type of person you are. You'll choose a man over your kids.
Cashel, that's your aunt on the tape. How do you feel about what she's saying?
I feel like she's lying.
What is she lying about?
About me not knowing him I only knew him for a month. Then talking about I called them. I didn't call the ambulance. I called them first. I feel like
But those significant things. I mean, we're not here about how long you actually knew the guy or who you called.
I'm here to clear my name up because I'm tired of people.
This is about your 13-month-old daughter being physically attacked and being killed, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long did you know the guy?
For like 3 months. 3-4 months.
Okay. I mean, it's so hard to hear a little girl being tortured that way and losing her life. Like, what was running through her mind? What was she thinking? How fearful was she when this was, and this is your daughter? Tell me about the day your daughter passed away.
I mean, the night before, both of my kids was fine, you know. They ate. My other daughter got her hair done, you know. But when it was time for bedtime, I got them a juice cup, put them in bed, turned on Cocoa Melon. And, you know, I gave them a juice cup, they laid down. I had the door on the crack. But my ex-boyfriend that night, he was acting weird that whole night. Because he had went through my phone and found out I was talking to somebody else. So he was just acting weird that whole night. I mean, my kids was in bed, so, you know, we was going back and forth for a little bit. You know, I had a little drink, you know, and then I went in my room, I was drinking. I shut my door, had my door shut, playing music. And then after that, he texted me, you know, asking me to throw his black out the door. But he was acting weird. After, you know, I took it, gave him his black. After that, you know, I was in my room still drinking a little bit. And then I ended up getting in the shower. And then after that, he was on the couch. So I went out there like, you know, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? You being weird. You had been acting weird the whole night. And he was like, because this, that, third, he finally said it. He went to my phone. I'm like, why did you go to my phone? Like, why did you go to my phone? You never got your feelings hurt. This, that, and the third. So then after that, you know, I left him alone. I went in the room. I went to sleep the next morning. I woke up. I overslept. I woke up around like 2. Usually my kids come wake me up. They come wake me up in the morning. They didn't. So as soon as I jumped up, I looked at my phone like it's 2 o'clock. Kids. That's the first thing the kids went on. I jumped up. I ran in the room to my kids, and I seen my daughter just laying there with her eyes open.
And then how did you find out your daughter had passed?
Well, when I went to the hospital, and I first walked up, and they came out, and they was like, you know, she's going. I'm like, what do you mean she's going? And then after that, I just broke down, started screaming and hollering, and I broke down.
And when you found out, they told you that she was killed?
Yes.
What was your reaction to that?
Well, I went to the police station like 3 different times, and they finally told me, like, when the paperwork and stuff came in, they finally told me she was murdered. I'm like, what do you mean my daughter was murdered? And she was like, your daughter was actually murdered. How did you think she passed away? I said, in her sleep says or something, because my daughter, my kids went to sleep perfectly fine.
Now, your aunt says that the police, they were telling you that she was murdered, and they interviewed you, right? Why did you then give your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend a heads up?
I never gave him a heads up.
So your aunt...
She was lying.
Well, she's not lying, or maybe she's misinformed. I don't know. Your aunt's not really lying about anything, is she? She might be confused about some facts, but... I mean, she's concerned, one, about your daughter that's still living, right? Mm-hmm. I think she's, you know... devastated that she lost her niece to this manner. She's not lying to hurt you, is she?
It seemed like she is. You said that I did this, I did this, or this, that. You don't know what you're talking about.
I never said I don't want nothing to do with you. After this, after I proved my point, I don't want nothing to do with you, because I didn't do nothing. Not with my kids. I never prove it. I'm tired of people getting saying I would never hurt my kids. I would never do anything like that. No. I would never ever do anything. I love my kids.
Is there any level of you that believes that your niece had something to do?
No, I don't think she had nothing to do with it. I'm not going to sit and just be like...
It's bothering me. Why are people smiling? People go from seriousness to smiling at something that's... Bro, when something this serious is going on, I, as a young man, already know the calamity of the situation. I get that this is on TV, but why are you smiling? This child is dead.
You know, we all find boys that we like. You get what I'm saying? But really deep down inside, you was already grieving that your mom passed. You feel what I'm saying? You didn't fully grieve right. So you went to look for a man.
Right.
You found the man. Okay, we all find men. If he was abusing you, what makes you think that a possibility he wouldn't do nothing?
Well, I think a lot of mistakes were made. One, when you bring a guy into your house or, whatever the situation may be, when you bring a partner into your house that's violent, that should be a red flag to, that person has to go. They can't be violent in my house with my children. All right, Cashel, you came here, took a lie detector test. Did you witness anyone physically abuse your 3-year-old daughter? You answered no. Do you have direct knowledge as to who caused the injuries to your 3-year-old daughter? You answered no. Did you ever hit or strike your 3-year-old daughter, causing a mark or bruise on her body? You answered no. Did you ever cause deliberate physical harm to your 3-year-old daughter? You answered no. Did you witness anyone physically abuse your 1-year-old daughter, causing the injuries that led to her death? You answered no. Do you have direct knowledge as to who caused the injuries to your 1-year-old daughter? You answered no. Did you ever hit or strike your 1-year-old daughter, causing physical injury? You answered no. Did you ever physically abuse your daughter, causing suffocation? You answered no. Did you cause the injuries that led to your 1-year-old daughter's death? You answered no. The results came back all the same, and they came back that Cashel told the truth.
So much.
I hope this helps you,
Thank you so much, Steve, for helping me.
I hope that you can rebuild your life. It's not easy because, you lost a daughter and you're trying to get the other one back. I do hope that whoever did this to your daughter...
He didn't. They need to go down. But my whole thing is
and I hope he gets caught and he's brought to justice. Because that's the only thing that's left to, for your daughter, is that the person that did that to her is brought to justice. The things that we talked about on stage, moving forward, you still have your daughter. Hopefully, you get her back as her mother. But you cannot make the same mistakes that you made in the past. When you get in relationships, you got to go slow. The first time they exhibit violent behavior, they got to go. You can't drink when you're taking care of kids.
But it wasn't the drinking. She didn't fully grieve over her mom.
But I'm saying, that night, if you're sleeping till 2 in the afternoon, you're not, So, I'm just saying, move forward, make good decisions. You don't want another tragedy happening in life. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you. I called you.
I've had these conversations with friends, acquaintances, and even family of mine pertaining to single mothers and dating, right? It was right around the time I was introduced to the manosphere, the red pill, the content in which they preach, the different conversations they have. And one thing that I agree with to this day, this is addressing the men. Because none of this would have happened if a man was there who was actually committed to this woman and her situation and her children. Because she was obviously a single mother, already dealing with raising children. If I may judge this situation, predominantly these women become single mothers at a young age, you know, whether it's pertaining to our race. I'm not so sure about the stats with other people's races. I just know in terms of our race, even in terms of the environment I'm living in right now, girls become mothers pretty early, between the ages of 13 to 16 or so. It happens a lot. Girls, even in my old neighborhoods, not as intense as here. My old neighborhood in South Africa is not as intense as here. Uh, they barely make it out of high school without someone having sex with them. The world keeps egging at them, and then whisper sweet nothings to them, and then boom, you're a single mother, and the guy doesn't really want to be there. And one thing I've always said, no matter what anyone's opinion is or whether they get offended, is if you know you're not gonna commit to this woman, because the woman comes with the child. If you know you're not gonna commit, if you know you're not gonna be 100%, if you know you're not gonna look at that child and see that child as your responsibility, as your own, fuck blood. Because I think blood, it puts emphasis on shit that doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to be connected to people through lineage, through family and all of that. But don't ever let blood blind you in terms of who you care about and who you don't care about. Anyone can be your child. You know, you can adopt and anyone can be your child. But if you're not going to commit to this woman, just don't do it. I personally put my foot down in those conversations and I said, me personally, I'm not going to date no single mothers, especially at my age. I refuse. I don't refuse because I'm disgusted by them or I hate them or whatever it is. I just know right now I'm not in any position to take on someone else's child and put that much emotion and resources into it. I'm not in any position to do that. I'm not in any position because it is an undertaking, because it's not just you taking on someone's child. It's you taking on someone's child and having to deal with the repercussions of someone blaming you if that child, something bad happens to them. And no matter how you feel, you're not really the parent. If you're not going to commit to this woman, leave her children alone. If this guy, whoever this guy is, if he didn't do it, whatever he is, the consensus is he did. If he just thought with that and just left this woman alone, the child, no matter what struggles maybe he did go through financially or whatever it is, the child would still be alive. In my neighborhood right now, there's a bunch of children that, it's a struggle, because people, they don't just have single children, they have multiple children, especially in an environment like this where people don't really have money, no matter how tropical it is or holiday like it is, the locals don't really have money, and these children are still okay at the end of the day. They still find a way to eat. They still find a way to survive, It's not the end of the world having these struggles. You don't need a person that doesn't really want to be there to be there. And it's not because you're bad or whatever, because people like to paint it like we're looking at these women, especially people with thoughts like mine. They look at us like we see these women as tarnished or whatever it is. My mom is separated with my father when I was in college, so she wasn't necessarily like a single mom or whatever. I'd already been raised. There was no more work to do, But my mom is in the same position, I don't see her as any different. I don't see any single mother as any different, But if I know, me personally, that I'm not gonna be mentally there, there's no need for me to be there. Leave these women alone. Leave these women and their children alone if you're not gonna commit. If you're just there to fuck, leave them alone. If you're just there to fuck and then she's cool with it and then you guys have sex and then it's in a safe and responsible way, then you have sex, go on about your business. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're adults. But in terms of relationships, if she wants a relationship or whatever, make it very clear. I'm not in it. Because if you cared about that child, that wouldn't have happened. I've seen a lot of abusers who go as far as like abusing like the household, but they'll never go that far with kids, you know. They won't beat kids to death, especially a baby. They would never ever go to that extent, you know. There's levels to abuse. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day. Post notifications, eh?
New narratives unfold, the way that a gun feels as soon as it unloads, the way that the grip feels the touch of the steel cold, the way that the end looks resembles a blunt roll, the hole with that gun smoke that has been patrolling my borders, anacondas on the surface.